The Gomez Mill House by Evan Ashley, Beth Green, and Sagie. On the banks of the Hudson, approximately 75 miles north of New York City, sits an old stone and brick house. In front of the dwelling sits a waterfall and brook, which up until the 20th century was called Jews Creek. The history of the dwelling, the oldest extant Jewish house in North America, goes hand in hand with the history of the earliest Jewish community in New York. The building was built by the most prominent Jewish family of the day, the Gomez family. The Gomez Mill House tells the story of the family whose success mirrors that of the earliest Jewish community of New York.
Luis Moses Gomez was born in 1660 in Madrid. After fleeing the Spanish Inquisition, the Gomez family made their way to England. In 1703, rather than stay in England, Louis and Esther, his wife, decided to make their home in New York. In 1705, he was granted a letter of denization by Queen Anne, which was extremely important to Gomez, because without the letter of denization, Gomez would not have been able to purchase land. The actual letter of denization is currently stored at the Gomez Mill House. The letter of denization bears many marks of wear and tear, especially in the spots where it has been folded over and over again by its owners. In one spot, there's a round coffee stain where it appears that someone may have placed a coffee mug on it. These historical markers bear testament to the fact that although the letter was a valued possession of the Gomez family, it was also a tool of business. They would have carried that letter with them and folded it to present it whenever they were making a purchase of land or conducting other business matters, which were restricted only to citizens, in order to prove that as resident aliens they had the authority of the Queen to conduct such matters. On the side of the document, under the picture of Queen Anne, is a small embossed and rectangular stamp. This is the tax stamp, proof that Gomez paid taxes to the Queen upon purchase of the letter. This is the same stamp that the British would later extend to other legal documents, magazines, newspapers, and other types of paper transactions in the colonies, which would raise the ire of the colonists and incite rebellion.
The denization, written in Latin, reads in part.
France and Ireland, defender of the faith, to all to whom these presents shall come, greeting.
Know ye that for various good reasons and causes, moved by kindly considerations, and from positive knowledge, and for honorable purposes, we have granted and by these presents, in our own name, and for our heirs and successors, hereby do grant to Luis Gomez, a man chosen by us, who, although born across the sea, is hereby made our faithful subject and will ever be our licensed denizen, and our heirs and successors of our English realm are to so consider him, and in respect to this, his heirs are and will be licensed subjects, and he and his heirs are to be held, reputed, treated, and governed as our faithful subjects, born within the kingdom of England, and that this said Luis Gomez and his heirs may be able to acquire and receive, take hold, have and buy, possess lands, holdings, inheritances within our English domain, and any of our dominions to use and enjoy for himself and his heirs in perpetuity, or to give, purchase, buy, sell, alienate, and dispose of in any manner whatsoever to whatever person or persons he or they choose or shall choose freely, fearlessly, fully, wholly, peaceably, quietly, and without disturbance, as he or they may desire, just as may any faithful citizen born within our kingdom.
With this letter of denization, Louis and his sons purchased 6,000 acres on the banks of the Hudson, north of Newburgh. On this land, Algonquin Indians often congregated by the Hudson River on a rocky point. The area was named De Fools Danskamer, or the Devil's Dance Chamber, by Dutch soldiers who had seen the Algonquins dancing their ceremonial rites around a bonfire at night. Gomez knew of the Algonquin tribes that were native to the area and knew that many Indian trails converged on the land. He and his sons built the stone house where they planned to trade with the Algonquins. They selected a spot on a creek where they would be able to mill wheat into flour and where their trading partners could stop for water. They built a one-story trading post with security in mind and built stone walls that were several feet thick. They backed the building into a hill for further protection. On either end of the building, they built two large stone huts for warmth in the cold Hudson winters, which they often spent trading with the Algonquins. At their trading post, the Algonquins brought them fur pelts, which the Gomez family exported to Europe, along with wheat, meat, tobacco, rice, indigo, and lumber. In return, the Indians bought linens and other fine cloths imported from Europe, along with pewter and iron utensils and weapons. On their property, they also ran other profitable businesses. They cut down lumber, which they loaded onto boats and sailed down to New York City, where it was in great demand for the growing city. The area was also rich in lime, which they shipped down the Hudson and sold for building and construction use. An advertisement ran in the New York Gazette from September 29th to October 6, 1729.
All persons who shall have occasion for good stone lime next spring or summer may be supplied with what quantity they shall have occasions for. By Luis Gomez in the city of New York. By 1729, the congregation Sherith Israel was ready to build a synagogue. Until that time, they had held services in members' homes. Luis Moses Gomez used his letter of donation to purchase land for a cemetery and a building and donated it to the congregation. However, the Jews did not have enough funds to build the building, so they solicited funds from existing Jewish communities from the Caribbean and from London. Unlike other congregations, where relations between Ashkenazim and Sephardim were often characterized by hostility, the community in New York was united. Although only 15 of the 37 original families were Sephardic, the congregation adhered to Sephardic ritual. The first synagogue, built on Mill Street, which is now South William Street, was consecrated on April 8, 1730. Although a small hut and only 35 feet by 35 feet and 21 feet high, it was bigger than the Baptist and Quaker meeting houses. There was a balcony for women, which ran around 3 sides. There was also a mikveh, whose water came from the stream that powered the mill. In 1731, they added a school, which became the first Jewish day school in North America. Luis Moses Gomez was elected the first Parnas, or president of the congregation. The congregation exists today as the Sherith Israel, the Spanish and Portuguese synagogue on Central, West, and 70th Street. The future owners of the house were also very influential in the tri-state region.
The fifth owner of the house was Martha Gruning. She owned the house during the mid-1900s. While she was at the house, she wrote books on suffragism and civil rights.
Wilfred Acker was the second owner of the house and was a militiaman during the American Revolutionary War. He used the house during the war to hold multiple patriot meetings.
I'll talk to you today about a man called Dard Hunter. Dard Hunter was the fourth owner of the Gomez Mill House, and he bought it during the Industrial Revolution in America. During this time, Dard Hunter used the house to make paper. He even built a paper mill in the backyard. Dard Hunter, thanks to the Gomez Mill House, went on to become a renowned craftsman in New York.
The Gomez Mill House was placed on the Historic Register in 1973. The Gomez Foundation for Mill House was founded in 1979. In 1984, the foundation purchased the Gomez Mill House and established it as a public museum chartered in the state of New York.
Thank you for watching our video. We learned a lot throughout the course of our project and from visiting the mill house.
We encourage you to take a
a
visit!
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.